Hi, my name is Jarosław Kosaty. I'm a strategist at PKO Bank Polski.
Last week's euro PLN rose from around 4.40 to around 4.45. The initial enthusiasm, driven by an easy rebound of indicators after the ending of lockdown, gradually faded, and Polish currency market started to concentrate more on the pace of economic rebound than only on the recovery itself. Consequently, strong and solid local macro data like GDP, industrial production, retail sales or current accounts started to be supportive for the zloty as the momentum of their improvement when comparing to previous periods began to soften. This, together with growing deflationary pressure in the eurozone and weakening momentum in Germany's and eurozone's industrial sector, dampened investment demand for European emerging market currencies, resulting in the Polish zloty depreciation. The scale of the pricing very soon leveled off around 4.45, however it is clearly seen that the attitude towards PLN has worsened and Polish currency more easily responds to macro data which surprise to the downside than to the upside. In these circumstances, where the further path of economic recovery in Poland and in Eurozone remain a key driver for the euro-PLN exchange rate, only strong and sustainable improvement in the upcoming macro data can boost investment appetites for risk and thus strengthen the zloty. In our opinion, however, it will not happen in coming weeks. We predict euro-PLN to remain in broad fluctuation around 4.45 until the end of September. Expectations of the continuation of a disinflationary trend in Poland, together with persisting deflationary pressure in the eurozone, tip the scales toward less favorable economic growth scenarios in Europe, which should keep the zloty on the weak levels in coming weeks. We expect local industrial production reading rebound in August will prove insufficient to convince the markets that the path of economic recovery in Poland is gaining speed again. Let's take a closer look at these factors. As you can see from this chart, inflation changes in the eurozone determine the trend of the euro-PLN exchange rate fluctuations in the last years. The same was in the last weeks when the eurozone's HICP data for August was released. Surprising deflation instead of slight inflation pushed PLN to weaker levels as the market started to doubt in the possibility of fast recovery in Europe amid growing deflationary pressures. Despite the latest more optimistic rhetoric from the ECB concerning further economic growth, PLN remained unaffected as the central bank confirmed that the deflation will not be overcome until early 2021. Expectations of further continuation of negative price developments in the coming months in the eurozone should keep euro-PLN exchange rate on higher levels. Although decreasing CPI in Poland is pretty far from deflation zone, inflation in Poland is gradually falling, which corresponds with disinflationary pressure in Europe. Expected inflation fall in reaction to negative economic aftermath of COVID-19 was behind all this year's Polish MPC's rate cuts. The latest local CPI reading for August, which showed a further decrease from 3% to 2.9% on year-on-year basis, fits into the MPC scenario of a gradual decrease of inflation in Poland. As long as inflation is falling, it reinforces market expectations of stable interest rates in Poland, which is not supportive for the zloty. The latest industrial data releases from the Eurozone and from Poland, presented on this chart on the inverted scale on month-on-month basis, confirm that the pace of economic rebound is softening, which pushes euro-PLN higher. In our opinion, the Polish zloty has already adjusted to weaker August readings, and this week's local industrial production release for August should not influence PLN much, unless it would significantly break from the Eurozone's data trend visible on this chart, which we do not expect. Consequently, euro-PLN exchange rate should remain fluctuating around 4.45 till the end of September. We predict that the most significant changes of euro-PLN may become possible when the new macro data releases from Poland and from Eurozone will shed more light on the ongoing path of economic recovery. Given the macroeconomic data and events calendar, coming weeks will rather not bring the breakthrough in this matter. Thank you for your attention.